we are finally on the last component, the psychological aspect of the game. Although there are no specific cognitive exercises, we can create a training environment that fosters optimal decision process during match conditions. In Chapter 1, Lesson 5, we discussed three main areas of the psychological component. These are confidence, motivation, and concentration. As a coach, you want to create a holistic training environment where all the sports components are carefully crafted into all training sessions to develop elite soccer players. Analytical method. Of all the three methods, the analytical method scores low in cognitive demand, but we can manipulate our coaching behavior to develop some psychological traits. Use visual cues instead of auditory cues, like the whistle or verbal commands to initiate an exercise. For example, instead of saying go or blowing the whistle in this example, you can tell players to start the exercise when the group in front reaches the red cones. This forces the player to focus on the activity in front and not just waiting for an auditory cue to start. In this example, we instruct our young players to initiate once the player passes the ball back. This makes the activity flow better and eliminates long waiting cues. Global and conditional method. The global method, by nature of the activity, has a great incidence on the psychological development of young players. But, as everything else, a great coach will want to manipulate the cognitive load of the activities he uses during training. So now we introduce you to another reference table, and that is the cognitive load table. This table gives you the load of each game depending on the number of players and phases of the game involved in the activity. This table also applies to the conditional method, but remember that this method increases the cognitive load depending on the variable you use. Of all the three coaching methods, the conditional method is superior in cognitive development, yet not as utilized by youth coaches. If you truly want to develop elite soccer players, then use the conditional method in every one of your training sessions. At first, your players will struggle with this concept, but as time progresses, you will notice a smarter player, a faster player, because the player who thinks first is faster. For many years, the focus of player development was to develop athleticism, with the physical component being the central theme of the training program. In the last 2 decades, this focus has now shifted to cognitive development by creating a holistic training environment where all 4 components develop simultaneously. And now, you have all the tools to design and implement cognitive demanding training sessions.